I'm Dr. Ellen Nichols, and I'm running for State Senate in the August 4th primary, and I have a bowl filled with frequently asked questions that I'm going to try to answer for you today as best as I can. This one is, does Dr. Nichols oppose foreign ownership of Missouri farmland? Yes, absolutely. That's a matter of national security. We need to oppose any foreign interests taking control of our farmland. That's an important resource for us, and I would support legislation that would prevent that. Next question. Does Dr. Ellen Nichols support parental rights in education? Yes. Parents' input should be the absolute most highest priority for educators. Parents should be responsible for how they educate their children. They know their children best, and they know what their children need, and they know what's important to them as far as what priorities their child should receive, and that's different for every child. So yes, parental rights are very important in education. Go on to the next one. Does Dr. Nichols support voter ID laws? Absolutely. We have to have photo ID before people are able to vote. That's the only way to keep people out that shouldn't be voting. Only citizens should vote in our elections. We need to be in control of our country, and the best start for that is voter ID. Next. Does Dr. Nichols support restrictions on taxpayer-funded abortions? Abortions should not be done unless the life of the mother is threatened. I absolutely would support restrictions on any taxpayer funds used for abortions. Next question. What is Dr. Nichols' position on the Second Amendment? The Second Amendment is what protects our freedom. I can tell the story about the Hill of Crosses in Lithuania. It's a hill that in the 1800s families started putting crosses on when they couldn't bury their loved ones, when they died in battle and they couldn't bury them, so they started putting crosses on. But when the communists took over, the crosses were bulldozed. And then at night, people would come back and put crosses back up again, and then they'd get bulldozed. And this happened over and over. There were guards, there were fences, but the crosses kept reappearing. And then when communism was overthrown in Lithuania, all the crosses came back. And now there's 300,000 crosses on the Hill of Crosses in Lithuania. Very impressive sight, and it's a symbol of freedom. In this country, the Second Amendment is what protects our freedom. Our ability to go to work, to play, to educate our children, to go to church, to put crosses where we want to put crosses is protected by the Second Amendment, and we can never forget that. Next question. What values guide Dr. Nichols' campaign? Well, I think truth and integrity more than anything. I think that's essential in the political process. And if we let that get corrupted, then there's no accountability and there's no guidance for our political process, and then we're just going to lose political freedom, which is what this country is built on. So truth and integrity is the foundation of my campaign. Next question. Dr. Nichols' position on illegal immigration. It's illegal, so anyone that comes in illegally is a criminal and needs to be deported back to their country. I'm all in favor of legal immigration. That's what's built this country. But there's a process that people go through. If they come through without the process, then they're illegal immigrants and they need to be deported. Next question. What is Dr. Nichols' position on the rising cost of health care? Healthcare is rapidly becoming unaffordable and inaccessible, even with commercial insurance. The deductibles are getting so high, and the co-pays, co-insurances, that when people get their bill, they're shocked that this is what they're going to have to pay, even with commercial insurance. So what's going to happen is that people are going to stop paying for commercial insurance since it's not doing them any good, and then the system's going to falter. So we have to do something to change the trajectory, and I think there's many things that we can do on the state level, including price transparency, and increasing competition so that these big hospital systems and insurance companies can't manipulate those prices. And next one, does Dr. Nichols support ending personal property taxes? Absolutely, I think property taxes are unjust. After you've made the money and paid taxes and bought the thing and paid taxes and then you own the thing, you shouldn't have to be able to lose it just if you don't pay property taxes. So I think it's an unjust form of taxes. I know those things that property taxes fund currently need to be funded, but they need to be funded in a different way. Next question. What does Dr. Nichols think can be done to improve healthcare? Well, I touched on that a little bit. I think that there are several things that can be done even on a statewide basis. I think price transparency is a big one. I actually think that everybody should pay the same amount for a certain procedure or a certain test. There shouldn't be varied prices based on negotiations and hidden, mysterious formulas to come up with a price. I think it should all be uniform. I think we need to increase competition that will drive prices down. And I also think we need to improve accessibility, especially in rural areas. Does Dr. Nichols support stand your ground laws? Yes, if somebody is threatening yourself, your property, they're on your property, then you should be able to defend that. And I absolutely support the Second Amendment. Anyone that wants to own a weapon that is law-abiding should be able to do that, and they should be able to protect themselves and their property. How does Dr. Nichols approach fiscal responsibility? Well, we have to have that when we run our personal lives and our personal finances and our business finances, and the government needs to have that too. So we need to have a balanced budget. We can't overspend. We need to be very careful about how we're spending, and it's not the government's money, it's the taxpayers' money. So every dollar counts, and every dollar should be very carefully spent on the things that are important to keep us safe and to keep us prosperous. What is Dr. Nichols' stance on crime and public safety? We need to eliminate crime as much as possible, but to do that we need to support public safety, and that means supporting our police officers, our firefighters. They need to have a living wage. They need to be able to obtain the equipment that they need for training and for safety, and that's got to be an absolute priority. What's higher priority than keeping us safe? Does Dr. Nichols support small businesses? Small businesses are what drive prosperity in this state. I was an owner of a small business for a while. It's very difficult. I know there's a lot of regulation, a lot of red tape, and I'd like to keep that to a minimum, but we need to do whatever we can do to encourage small businesses. Small businesses start small and they grow to big businesses if we give them the right environment for that. And that's what's going to drive prosperity in the state. And does Dr. Nichols believe illegal immigration affects elections? Yes. Yes, if people come into the country illegally and then they're allowed to vote illegally, that's going to shift the elections. And sometimes I think that is a strategy when illegal immigration is allowed. But we need to first stop illegal immigration and then, of course, have the systems in place that don't allow illegal immigrants to vote. And part of that is voter ID. Does Dr. Nichols support school choice? Yes. Parents are the ones that know their kids the best. They know what educational environment is going to work out best for them. My kids went to public school. My kids also went to religious school. Sometimes they needed one thing, sometimes they needed another thing. I also think the system needs to be able to experiment with different things. That this thing may not be working in public school. So school choice allows you to have a different concept, try a different concept and see if it's more successful than what we've been doing for a long time. So absolutely, I support school choice. What is Dr. Nichols' position on broadband expansion? Broadband expansion is absolutely necessary. It's part of promoting business, it's part of just improving communication, particularly in rural areas, and making sure that those rural areas have opportunities both to grow and to learn, but also for them to succeed financially. So that needs to be a big priority for Missouri government. And this is the last question in here. It's a good one. Is Dr. Nichols pro-life? Absolutely. I think that is a huge obligation, particularly in this state. Abortion was illegal in this state 4 years ago. Now we have some of the most liberal abortion laws in the country. We need to have protecting the unborn as a high priority, and I don't think we're doing a very good job with that. So Amendment 3 is coming up in November. I think everybody should get out and vote for that. But every time the issue comes up, we need to make the decisions that will protect the unborn and protect life. That's it.